Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Snow Basket and welcome to my kitchen. Today we'll be making samosas, beef samosas. Here are our ingredients. We have our ground beef. This is 1 kg. We have our spices over here. We have some onions, some garlic, some ginger, and some leeks.
We start by making the dough for samosa pockets.
These are 2 cups of flour. Feed by putting some salt. So what we do here, we just add some water as we go by.
I'm kneading my dough. I'm using a polythene bag just to make the process easier and to prevent the dough from sticking on my hand. When the dough is ready, once you press it down and it rolls back up, cover it and set it aside. Next, we're going to make the filling for our samosa. And here I'm just chopping up 2 large onions and mincing 3 cloves of garlic and 2 tablespoons of ginger. And next, I'm chopping up my coriander or dhania. And first I'm using the stem and I'm setting the leaves aside. I put in the stems first together with my onion. And these give the food a very nice flavor and aroma. I'm just going to fry these together with the onion, the garlic and the ginger. And here I'm just adding in my oil. I'm using cooking oil and I'm using sunflower oil, 2 tablespoons. Stir it, cover it and simmer. So once our onion starts to turn golden brown, I'm adding in my meat, my minced beef. This is 1 kg, stirring it in and covering it to simmer. Next, I'm working on my leeks. I'm starting with the stem and chopping it off. And these I add at the final stage when our meat is ready. So I'm chopping off the stem and next I'm chopping off the leaves of our leek. I used 2 leeks for this. And next I'm just going to chop our coriander or dhania leaves. And these are going in the final stage. And I'm going to cook them for about 2 to 3 minutes. So our meat is simmering. And it's almost ready. So here we add in our spices. I'm just putting in some salt and our spices. Stir it, cover and simmer. So our meat is almost ready. And I'm just adding in the leeks, the coriander in the final stage. And I'm cooking these for about 2 minutes. I want to retain the flavor, so I'm not going to cook them completely. And the texture is great. So I'm just putting off my flame and cover the lid, set it aside and let our meat cool. Next, we're working on our dough. I'm just flouring the surface. I'm working on the dough, stretch and knead, stretch and knead until you achieve a smooth ball of dough. This is to activate the gluten in our dough. Look at that beautiful ball. And next I'm just going to cut it into smaller pieces to make it easier to work with. And here I'm just going to roll our smaller dough balls into cylindrical shapes. And I'm just going to divide them further into smaller dough balls. So here I'm just going to cut them into smaller dough balls and roll them into round dough balls to start working on our sheets, on our samosa sheets. Cover them to prevent them from drying up and to retain the moisture. So here I'm going to work one dough at a time. I have 10 dough balls and I'm going to work with the first 5. So here I'm just rolling it out into a small disc. I'm not going to roll it out completely. And guys, pay attention to this process because this can make or break your samosa pocket. So here I'm just adding some oil and spreading it out on my disc or my chapati or roti, and then I'm flouring it, sprinkle some flour, roll another dough ball and place it on top. So here we're just going to be stacking our dough balls, and here I'm working with the first 5 dough balls as I said, and then I'm going to work on the other half since we have 10 dough balls. And here I'm just repeating the process. Cover it up to prevent it from drying up. Guys, be generous with the amount of oil you put. This is to prevent our dough from sticking. And once it's ready, set it aside. So here I'm just putting on my fire and heating my pan slightly. Make sure you use a pan that has a wide base because we are going to be rolling our dough out. But just make sure you don't roll your dough into a very thin chapati or roti because this will make our pockets too thin and they might tear. So here I'm just rolling it out so as it fits on my pan. You can use any pan that you have as long as it has a wide base. So I'm just heating my dough or my chapati and turning it around to make sure I cook both sides. This took about 2 to 3 minutes, and once you start seeing air bubbles, just know that your chapati is ready. So I'm just going to take this out of the fire and start the process of making our samosa sheets. As you can see, they're already separating. So here I'm just going to cut the excess off to ensure that my pockets are evenly shaped. So I'm just separating them. Just be very careful with this process. Just do it gently so that the samosa pockets do not tear. And here's a first. Look at that, just the right texture. So here I'm just cutting my chapati into halves, and next I'm going to cut it into quarters. And the first set of samosa pockets is ready. Look at that. just the right texture. They're not too thin and they're not too thick. And these pockets, guys, you can store them in the fridge or freezer for up to 3 months. Just cover them with a cling film, and when you're ready, just pull them out, put your filling in, and they're ready to fry. So here I'm just measuring out my filling, my beef filling. First, you're going to make a paste or glue for our samosa pockets. So here I'm just measuring out 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to add in some water to make a smooth consistency. It's not lumpy. This is going to be the glue for our samosas. So I'm just adding in water bit by bit until I achieve a smooth consistency. Our batter is ready. So here I'm just making the pocket. Putting on our glue. Just place one corner on top of the other one, like this. Repeat the same process on the other side. Make sure you get the butter down at the bottom to prevent our filling from spilling into the oil. Pinch the corner just like this to secure the corner of our pocket, again to prevent it from spilling in the oil once we start frying them. And our first samosa pocket is ready. So here I'm just putting in my filling, and I'm just using a tablespoon. And make sure you don't fill it up too much, because we need to leave enough space to fold it over, just like this. So I'm just pinching the corners, and our first samosa is ready. Press it down to evenly distribute. And repeat the process until all our samosa pockets are done and are full with the filling. And here, guys, I made 40 samosa pockets.
Guys, so our samosas are done. This is the end product.
I'm just going to fry our samosas. Just make sure your oil is hot. So I'm just going to fry them for 2 to 3 minutes. Ensure that you turn the sides until both sides are ready, till they turn golden brown. So you know your samosas are ready. Our samosas are ready. They're nice and crunchy. Look at that. Beautiful. So here I'm just going to fry our samosas in my oil. It's heated. And make sure you turn them over both sides. Make sure they're both cooked. And this takes about 2 to 3 minutes. Just make sure your oil is very hot. Look at that. The skin is crunchy and nicely browned. Our samosas are ready to be served.